Live. How's it
last.
feel? How's it feel? Right on time, right where we wanted.
We've only been trying this for the last hour and a half.
Yeah. 24 episodes. Do you think we get it down pat?
Yeah, episode 24.
Yeah.
Due to some intense budget cuts here at the Oak Barrel, they've taken our table away.
Yeah.
So we're now sat behind the counter.
Either that or it becomes quite a chore to pack things up after
that too, yeah.
a good hour of
I
talking
consider
rubbish.
that a budget cut.
A budget cut, yeah. A will to live cut.
Yeah. Especially 10 in the morning.
Yeah. No, we definitely pack up at night, every night. Yeah. G'day, my name is Scott Fitzsimon. Sitting to my left, your right, is Mr. Joe Perry here at the Oak Barrel Bottle Store in Sydney. Smack bang in the CBD, a very empty CBD in the last couple of weeks as we all battle with global pandemics and coronaviruses and all sorts of things. So the after hours segment, if you haven't seen one of these before, basically the store is shut up, closing a little bit earlier than it usually does these days. Normally this is about 9 o'clock, but we're closing up at 7 o'clock these days. We're sitting around having a couple of drinks afterwards. Hope you have a bit of a chat and talk about things. What do we have lined up tonight? It's all about isolation at the moment, right?
Being stuck somewhere.
Yeah, and just because you're in isolation doesn't mean you can't be fun. So we've picked a wine that you can party by yourself.
It's certainly a lot of fun.
Yeah, the self party wine. We have a Wild Rye from a distillery down in Yakandanda, which we're going to crack for the first time tonight. To have a bit of fun with that, because I think there's a lot of things you can do with that. And then, in surely what is going to turn into a disaster, Joey is going to try and teach me how to make a martini, which might just end in Joey makes a martini.
I didn't even know how to make a martini.
Yeah, so this is good. If there are, we will warn you, but if there's any bartenders that are watching when we do get into that, we'll forewarn you so you can turn off and just go away, because it might hurt. But Joey, how you been?
Yeah, good. Bored.
Bored? Yeah, it's been like that.
But trying to make the most of the boredom, you know. I think I've really done a lot of looking into, trying to learn some new skills, some online courses, something to better myself. And I did end up spending all weekend watching Netflix reruns. So progress, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Probably put a lot of time and effort into cooking for the first time in many years. No,
really?
Lots of good wine in my house. Not a lot of good food that is made by me. So, with obviously there's some excellent restaurants out there doing a lot of takeaway all the time, and I obviously can't afford that every night. So yeah, I've been busting out the steaks and the pasta and all that.
So what you've done is you've gone and raided a spice rack at some convenience store and just got your 2 minutes noodles and just
7 different ways.
Cardamom and paprika at it.
Pretty much, yeah. Like once I get the spaghetti to the right boiling temperature, I'm it's free reign from there. But
do you like heat up the kettle first so you don't have to wait as long?
I stick it in the microwave.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think so. And then add the water afterwards. A lot of looking at four walls and browsing the webs and that sort of thing. But plenty of good wine to get through, which I hope everyone has a good substance of their own to help them get through that. Also,
yeah.
Whether it be wine, whiskey, beer, gin, sake, tea, kombucha, juice,
mate,
soft drink.
Tea's big. People are loving the tea at the moment.
I'm getting a lot into tea.
A lot of talk about tea.
Well, with tea as well, like you don't, like I've never been a tea person. I've always been a coffee person. So I always, start the day coffee, early afternoon coffee sort of thing. But now if you're at home all day, you don't really need that kick. So if you want something, that's enjoyable and a little bit warm, you have tea.
Yeah,
it's nice.
I think tea is like a dangerous slope for me, and probably yourself as well. I think we've both got that personality that when you find a new hobby or something you're excited about, you must know absolutely everything about it and collect them all and have a really good collection and all those sorts of things. I don't have the time to go full into tea, I don't think.
No, I've you walk past those T2 stores in the city here and stuff like that, and there's just walls of different types of tea. It's kind of like what I imagine maybe the Oak Barrel is to non alcohol enthusiasts, and just go, what on earth is going on in there?
I think it's even more than that, because T2 is sort of like your not it's your accessible version.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
we're going to put it in
Yeah.
colourful boxes, make it easy to understand, and you just come and buy it off from us. But like getting into like single origin and like
Yeah.
single plantation and that sort of stuff.
Or like the boiling, or not boiling, but like serving temperatures. Each tea has a different temperature at which it needs to brew at, I guess. So my kettle only has one setting, and that's
On.
hot. Yeah. So I don't know if I even have the right equipment at home to do specific types of tea
To go
justice.
full tea.
Yeah.
Cool. So you're listening to the Tea Hour here at the Oak Barrel.
There's no booze being consumed.
We've made it pretty obvious that we know nothing about tea, so we're going to shut up on that. You want a drink?
Yeah. Sure.
What are you're drinking a beer?
I'm drinking a beer. Yeah.
Maybe
this one just jumped out of new camera angle. I can't work this up. Bondi Beach beer. It's an XBA. I assume it comes from Bondi or North Bondi.
It's new into the store.
It
Last
is
couple
new,
of weeks.
yeah. So I think there's two. I think they're quite a new sort of start thing out of Bondi.
Yeah, cool.
But brewing all their own stuff, which seems really cool. It's super refreshing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of liking it. We got two. I think they do a lager as well. But this is just ultra smashable.
Yeah, there is one that caught my eye. It might be the lager actually that had a really old school retro packaging,
Yeah.
almost like the Dust Juice.
Yeah. It's
Which is
Bondi Draft. We can see.
Okay,
that.
yeah. Which is appealing to me at the moment because without any motorsports, I'm just going through like old videos. There's a lot of like old 60s, 70s, 80s, those like classic heritage, particularly when like tobacco sponsorship was big, like where there's millions and billions of dollars being thrown into marketing colours on the side of racing cars. It caught my eye that day. I was like, oh, that's quite interesting.
But also like with all of this like in-house boredom, like aren't you seeing like the classics kind of here come back? We see it in cocktails where people were coming in looking to make Manhattans, Negronis. Never been asked for more Negroni content in my entire life, martinis and that sort of thing. There's there's no more of that. Well, there's not as much of the crazy infused, go crazy out there stuff. It's what alcoholic beverage can I throw together quickly and consume?
Bare basics.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Which everything, and if you watch the cocktail scenes and the bartending scenes, it does move in cycles, just like fashion and everything does. And retro becomes cool. And you may not notice as much if you go to a bar once every 3 or 4 months or something. But yeah, there's all these trends. So I wonder when we get out of this, whether there's going to be a huge back to basics thing. Because I've spent 3 months at home making bad Negronis for myself.
Yeah.
I just want the best Negroni that I could never make. Can you please do this?
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, so normally on these things we would start with a wine or something a little bit lighter to get into it, but it is isolation. We're not mucking around. So something I've been waiting to crack for a long time. So this is the Wild Rye from the Backwoods Distillery in Yakandanda. Yakandanda, just sort of in the northeast Alpine region of Victoria, just a drop punt from Beechworth, big wine region. Not traditionally a huge region yak for production. I think there are some wineries around there. There's a bit of fruit as well, but like not a huge production. But the Backwoods Distillery has been operating for a couple of years now. And they're producing some excellent stuff. We've tried some cast samples of things. We actually had the team up for last year's Whiskey Fair. They did the distillers dinner and then sort of just got their vibe on the fair. Making whiskey predominantly, rye and single malt, and had hoped to launch their first whiskey in the next couple of months. And so I need to actually check in and see what's going on there because. We can't run events in Sydney right now.
No.
So Backwoods Distillery, some of the loveliest people you'll ever meet. But how's this? So Backwoods Distilling from Yakandanda. Now the family name of the owners is Atwoods.
Right.
So Backwoods Atwood. The couple's name is Lee and Bree.
Right, okay,
Atwoods,
yeah.
from Backwoods. So I'm going to stuff that up at some point tonight.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Backwoods, yeah. So thanks for that. You made that real easy for all of us here.
So there's a famous Atwoods winemaking family out that way as well, I think. Maybe a little bit higher. They might be a little bit higher up than the Atwoods winemaking.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I think this is a first at Teachers.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
So,
There you go.
been doing a lot of. I don't think you can actually run like live teaching like primary and high school kids with like stills in the background or barrels of whiskey in the background. So probably goes inside to do that at the moment.
It's chemistry.
But yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's always quite interesting or like easy to tell. It's like when you've got a new distillery and they haven't released anything yet, or like they've released progress reports and things that are leading up to a whiskey release, for example. It's always it can be hard sometimes to figure out whether they're going to be good or not. There's some you go, okay, I don't know, the new maker's pretty cool and things seem all right, I don't know how that's going to go. There's some that you walk in and go, oof, these guys could struggle here. And then there's some that you hear about and you walk into and you go, nah, they're doing things right. Yeah, they're doing things for the right reason. It's what you get when you speak to the team from Spring Bay for the first time. When you first went out and saw Brian and Janice, when you first speak to Gareth and Angela from Flu Rio, and you get the same return. And we actually have both Lee and Bree on the stream here tonight. Bree does apologise, for everyone naming things that rhyme with each other. So good. It's going to be the bane of my existence, I'm sure. Not related to any winemakers, but wish we were. I think we always related to winemakers.
Yeah, or distillers.
Yeah, distillers.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be good winemakers. I'd be happy to be related to bad winemakers if anyone's got any like gaps in their family tree.
There was a call around today doing the waves of one of the distilleries looking for wine to distill into.
Yeah, Tim Boone.
Was that okay? Yeah. Yeah. Which is like I know lots of wineries have just barrels there that cooked and don't know what to do with it.
Yep.
So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. Also, I'm going to get on my soapbox pretty quickly here before we get into this, because I saw it has been awesome. And we have our Brix hand sanitizer. So big thank you to Brix. We ran out of the Carew stuff. So Brix hand sanitizer from Surrey Hills, the famous great rum distillery. I read an article today that's saying people were complaining and accusing small distilleries of price gouging, and I almost lost my shit at it. And so this is my rant for the day. There might be a new segment on this, Scotty's weekly rant. It's like all the big boys who have industrial alcohol factories couldn't keep up. Yeah. There has been a gap in the market. So small mum and pop family-owned distilleries have jumped in to help do that, running this stuff off pot stills, not column stills that are designed to make this. It takes a long time to do it. Yes, it's going to be more expensive. Vast majority are donating things to local government offices and police departments and hospitals and that sort of thing. And yes, they are then on selling a little bit to the market if they want it. And if people have the nerve to come out and say, oh, but Dettol can do it for $3 a bottle. I was like, yes, but they don't have any. So you can go without hand sanitizer or buy a different one. Yes, it's like the people who go, oh, support Aussie farmers, blah, 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 but we'll go and buy the cheapest juice in the thing. It's like, I'm not willing to pay an extra 50 cents, for my juice. And I was like, well, what are you doing? I was very angry at that.
It was. I read it. Was it the one that was based around the lady that had the costume box thing? Yeah, and she decided that she wanted to sell hand wipes or sanitization wipes or whatever. And people were just calling her out, being like, wow, you're trying to profit off this, blah, 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 blah. She's like, well, it's less margin than I'd make off anything. Yeah. And then, you're distilling 80, 90, 100% alcohol. Yeah, and also, the last point on this is, okay, so maybe it costs a little more, obviously, but hopefully that's keeping people in jobs. Bricks have bar staff and distillers and, people. Archie Rose, Ian Glenn from Stone Pine's pretty much gone away from gin, doing all hand sanitizer today to, Bathurst and Orange out there. So what that does, it helps keep job. Otherwise, they have to go into JobKeeper or JobSeeker, and your taxes are paying for that. It's like, Anyway, but enough said. Outrageous.
That's Scotty's rant for the week done. Marco Greza says, for me, the Backwoods Rye was a standout from the distillers dinner. Can't wait for their first whiskey release. I agree, Marco. It went down very, very well that night.
It's going down well right now.
We spoke. Well, that was about 18 months, maybe a little bit younger. The one we tried on. Yeah. And the whiskey release is coming. We had spoken. There were plans. Obviously, everything goes onto the shelf now. But yeah, whenever it does come out, we'll have it at some point, Marco. So let's talk about this thing that we are drinking.
So one question that I had, which I sort of just noticed on the label there, was that this isn't all rye.
No. So yeah.
So then by labeling it like wild rye or rye, that's just kind of a predominantly rye-driven spirit?
Yeah, I mean, there's no legislation for rye industry, just like there's no single malt. So I don't know the exact mash bill breakup here, but obviously we can tell malted rye, barley, and wheat. Important thing to see there is malted rye, because a lot of time in America and other places you'll see unmalted rye, and that's where you get that real dry, spicy sort of note. But the best rye in the universe, distilled just up the road here at Archie Rose, as announced last week before, is the Archie Rose rye malt, and that's a malted rye as well. The one thing I like about this is wheat. I'm a bit of a wheat bender at the moment, but we did a lot with Weller from America early this year. Well, we can still do events, so that was like a very wheated bourbon. I've been ploughing through bottles of Twofold, from Starwood with that wheat. So we grow a lot of wheat, but we grow a lot of great wheat here, all over Australia actually. So yeah, very happy to see that double distilled.
Let's get that like really warming creaminess on the nose.
Yeah. Yeah, really creamy. It's soft. I think a lot of that has to do with the wheat component.
Yeah. So I think when you think, especially like you said, when you think rye, and especially American rye, you think spice, you think earthiness, you think that really gritty texture,
that Sazerac.
Yeah.
Or you're like your Colonel H. Taylor, like a bottled in Bond rye that is just aggressive and American. We want to be spicy.
Punch in the face.
Yep. 60% rye, 20% barley, 10% winter wheat. Lee Atwood's. In fact, I'm going to pin that because I can do that. How good's that? Technology. I'm all over it. But yeah, 42% as well, which is very interesting because it keeps the price down. It's not cast strength, keeps the price down. But Lee and Brie have obviously made a call that at 42, it's a better product than it would be at 41 or 40. So I think that's always a good signifier of a distillery doing things for the right reasons in early doors. If you brought this out at 40%, there's reasons for that. But if you go to it's not generic 43 either. They've obviously tested it at all points and gone, 42 is going to cost us some money. We're going to pay more tax. We're going to get less juice out of what we have coming up the stills. But that is where we think it's singing. But
it's quite drinkable, which is pretty odd thing to say for a spirit like this, right?
Yeah. Do you reckon at their wedding day, when they were the settlement was announcing stuff, you'd get Lee and Brie mixed up?
I hope not.
No. I mean, I guess it depends how much you pay for your celebrant.
Depends how much of this you serve.
Yeah.
It's just it's almost like breakfast like.
Yeah.
It's just got that really not syrupy, but
it's
malty,
super gentle, very approachable. Which brings me to, I guess, sort of one of the points we're going to make about tonight is, as you said, getting asked for a lot of materials to make cocktails with. I can't make cocktails to save my life. I can barely make a gin and tonic. For you, someone who did spend a little bit of time in bars in the past, when you look at that, just off flavour, if you're at home and you're looking through your cabinet, you've got a few juices and tonics and flavourings around and maybe bitters. What do you reckon goes with that?
So I think what would be my first, one of my immediately goes I want to try this, and it could go both ways, and we're not going to know until we try it if we do. But would be a sour base.
Sour base
would be just lemon, sugar, maybe a bit of egg white for texture, just because it's got that really lovely fluffiness towards it.
Yep.
I think that if you did have egg white at your disposal, just to really give it that lift, would be really cool, and maybe just some orange bitters.
Yeah, okay.
Smack it in.
Scenario. I'm at home. I've got a bottle of Backwoods Wild Rye, which is available on their website as well. Guys, if you want to post the link to your website where you can buy it, because I don't have it in store at the moment, feel free to do that. I've got a bottle of this at home. I have some fruit juice. I've got sugar, but it's about 11 o'clock, and I'm certainly not messing around with egg whites at this point in time. Is there any other sort of like thickening agent to get that sourness? Or
There
like
are,
that
but
texture?
they're a lot more complex than egg white.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and like when you say egg whites, you just mean like whisked?
Yeah, no. Yeah, like just an egg white. If you have the luxury of having a shaker, or even just like a glass, preserving tin or something like that. Just like
Yep.
whatever it is, that thing from a tin of jelly,
Yeah.
washed out.
A tin with a top.
Basically, yeah. What you're gonna do is you're gonna chuck 2 parts of rye in there, and then 1 part lemon juice, 1 to 1 sugar syrup. If you got it.
Which is sugar and water.
Which is sugar and water, equal parts. And then basically the white of 1 egg. Then you're going to close it up and give it a really hard shake with no ice in it.
Okay, so you just chuck the egg white straight in there, you don't
Chuck
do
the
it
egg
by
white
itself.
straight in there, yeah. And that will basically get your egg white to emulsify.
Okay.
Get it nice, and then you can take it off. Then you're going to chuck your ice back in there. Then you're going to shake it again. So you do what you call a dry shake and then a wet shake.
Okay.
And then the wet shake's going to basically chill everything down, add that area of dilution, break it up, whatever, and then just with whatever, like a pasta strainer or something, or strain all that into a glass.
Yep.
You should get a pretty good foam consistency in
Yeah,
there
okay.
with your egg white.
So what I've done here is with that recipe I've made that drink
Yeah.
based just what I have around here. So you said 2 parts wild rye.
Mhm.
Yep, done. Lemon juice, egg whites. Yeah.
So basically half a lemon
So
should
basically,
yield you-
I'll just do 2 parts.
Do that.
2 parts
Yeah.
wild rye. I'll stick with that.
I'd love to see this in something like Boulevardier as well. I think it'd be really cool.
Which is a Negroni with whiskey, isn't it?
Yeah. We're in agreeing with whiskey, rye whiskey, or like
Don't you hate it when someone who knows nothing about cocktails just goes Boulevardier, Negroni with whiskey? It's fine. It's like bartenders, look away now for the next hour
yeah,
or so.
it's good. It's gonna
hurt.
be fun. But I just like it's so like it's delicate. I think so. I don't think like Campari might smash it pretty hard. I don't know.
Because like you want this to be the hero as well.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you want it to be the backbone
Yeah.
of a whiskey, which I think would be really cool. I mean, I wouldn't even mind seeing like a little whiskey Collins or something like that. Just spritz it up, bring all those flavors out there.
So I had a quick comment here. Since Scott Fitzsimons is not giving love to the only person on YouTube. Yeah, no, yes, I wasn't watching YouTube. Does Matt Bailey know you stole his segment of Monday for Rant? Did he do the same thing? So Matt Bailey is also angry at people ranting about the price of craft hand sanitizer.
Is he?
Yeah, but I dare say that I said it better and more eloquently.
Yeah.
I probably pushed it home. Do you remember like debating in high school?
Yeah.
Or like primary school? You got the first speaker who comes in, does the whole intro thing. Second speaker who sort of tees it all up, gets into your core issues, and third speaker who just picks on the opposition and just like tries to pick holes in their argument. I was the third speaker there. I was just coming up the rear, just smashing it out of the park.
Is there even an argument that needs to be made? Just like they're all done.
Yeah. Just like go home and
just. I know isolation's hard, but just find a better use of your time than to go attacking small family-owned distilleries.
Brie Atwood says makes a great hot toddy too. Just
Hot
add
toddy, yeah,
hot
there you
water,
go.
honey,
Yeah.
and lemon. And that's a couple of things that I might have.
Yeah.
Honey, lemon, hot water. Because if I don't, your kettle does it on and off.
Well, I've been making tea, so you bring the lemon and honey, and I'll bring the hot water.
I'll just put your 2-speed kettle and we'll go from there. Really, really cool.
This is delicious.
Yeah,
I really like this.
Guys, I do apologise it's taken me this long to get to it, but I've got a bit of time on my hands after.
What is on something like this? Obviously, this isn't. You don't have people banging down the doors for rye spirit from smaller cities.
No.
What is it? What is it to you that makes you want to push it off the shelf, or what's your sort of consumer grabbing argument for something like this?
It's a really good question because no one's coming in saying, hey, do you have any white rye spirit from an Australian distillery? But there's precedent for this. Archie Rose did it very well with their white rye. Going back 4 years now, 4.5 years when they launched that, and I think they did a lot of bartending. They got into a lot of cocktails and people made things around it. It's always been a bit of a harder sell. White spirits that don't have the word vodka and gin on them are a harder sell by default. So I think bartenders would be where this sits. we're quite lucky being the Oak Barrel and having the clientele that we do have. There are people who want to try this. Like we have people who come in and buy New Make Spirit of distilleries because they actually like that flavour and they like that taste. I understand that it is a very, very small market, so it's a tough one. But it's also kind of why I wanted to do it tonight, is to say this is something that I would look for a bartender to do it properly with. What can I do by myself to get it at home? And I'm the sort of person that does drink white spirits neat as well, whether that is a vodka or a gin or a rye spirit. That's just what I do. So it's a tough one, and there's not really a market for it. It is just your adventurous consumer, the same sort of consumer that will go, hey, bitters, what are they? And if you're a consumer and you have like 3 different types of bitters, it's going to take you about 7 years to get through those bottles of bitters, because they're designed for bartenders who are using them 17 times a night. So, but they're willing to have those tools at home because they're interested in these things. So, but yeah, I mean, like, people are really interested in spirits and want to get down, because this is its purest form. Like, say, there's a whiskey release that is exactly this mash bill. You start talking about oak. The spirits there, you talk about oak. But for people like myself, this is the purest form of what backwoods do. It's in there. It's touched nothing else apart from the grain was grown, it was fermented, it's gone through a still, and Lee and Bree have both moulded that path. When you put into a barrel and you let it go, obviously you choose the barrel, but there's a bit of luck involved with that sometimes. Some barrels will go really well, some barrels will go flat, and you never know why. Could have smelled the greatest thing ever, could have smelled the most boring thing ever, and they can completely switch over. So this I think is for people who are interested and I guess engaged in the industry. This is the purest form.
I was actually just before you mentioned that, that's exactly what I was going to say. Is I kind of like the whole you're not hiding anything sort of thing. It goes the same in wine as well, and even further when you think about additives and everything else. And I know we see in spirits where there's obviously a certain sherry or port dominances over a spirit that maybe wasn't great. Chuck into this and off it goes. Like, you're not hiding much in this. It's
100%. And to steal a quote from Lynn Lark, who was Bill Lark's wife, one of the first craft gin distillers in the country, Lynn Lark. She's got a saying that is shit in, shit out.
Right.
If your spirit is shit and goes into a barrel, doesn't matter how good the barrel's going to be, it's going to be pretty average on the other side. Again, rowing back to what it's like, how do you identify the potential of a distillery, within the first 6, 12, 18 months? It's very hard to do, but this stuff is a big signifier.
But this isn't what is going into the cask.
There's a mixture of mash bills going into the cask.
Right.
They may,
but not at 42% though.
No. This has been watered down to this. There may be 60% rye, 20% barley, 10% winter wheat going into barrels, but I'm not entirely sure. No. And also, I don't, necessarily want to speculate too much on what that's going to be, because that's not a product at 18 months that's ready. It's designed to be ready at some point after 2 years. And I reckon the way I like to do it is to try these things when they're ready, and then go back and say, okay, where did this come from? Like, go off flavor profiles.
Shouldn't it be cool if we had like a Australian Mad Men where all they drank was like unaged spirit, and just really started that craze? Just rolling into the office at 11 in the morning and just half a schooner of unaged spirit.
Of spirit.
Cool.
It would be cool, because it's certainly not us. We're not cool enough to.
We do it, just no one.
No one cares. Bree Pub saying, bad internet tonight, and every time we try and go say something, an important word, it cuts out. That's what I'm talking rubbish mostly. You're not missing much if you're missing every second word. But this. Yeah, I think probably a bit of both. That looks all right at the moment. I'll just do a quick test. But this will all be posted afterwards, and I got the videos if you need it as well. But that could be fixed at some point.
It's good.
Yeah,
and
really
like Spanish subtitles.
That's good. Joey has made us somehow got us Spanish subtitles on his computer. That's pretty remarkable. We're a little bit over halfway, so we should maybe move on. But this is delicious stuff, and guys, we hope
very impressed.
And one thing I will say as well is Yakandanda, not far from places like Beechworth and places like Bright, which were pretty decimated by fires in terms of tourism dollars and visitors and that sort of thing. Beautiful. Okay, everyone, fires are done. Let's get out. Let's go give some money to regional areas. Bang. Except don't stay at home and watch, TV. So there will be a point. It is not now. It might be the end of this year. It might be the early next year. It might be 12 months from now. But I think getting out to these places is going to be really, really important and really, really cool. I don't know if you coming from the Sydney end of things, but definitely if you are coming from Sydney, there's going to be a really cool tour to do. Drive down south, go to Joadja, then go to Corolla, then go through Yakandanda onto Bilson's distillery in Beechworth.
So all in one day?
No,
Oh.
not all in one day. But it's a decent week, I think, and then you can sort of do some wines. You can go down to Bright to Reed and Co distillery down there, really cool gin distillery. So there's going to be a really cool little path there. Maybe even depending on how much time you've got, because it's not an insignificant drive, but sort of follow the border across to Mildura, go see fossies and stuff there. Could be really cool, but it's not now, but there will be a time where we should all be getting in our cars and doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, Lord knows we will.
So we are struggling a little bit with internet. We seem to be pretty quick at the moment, dropping in and out, but we'll try and do that. What do I do next, Joey?
You should grab wine, maybe?
Grab a wine?
Yeah.
Go to the fridge, grab that out.
It's nice and cold.
So while Joey is grabbing a wine, I'm going to quickly grab some more rye. But yeah, keep the questions coming in. If you are on YouTube, yell at me. But yeah, predominantly on Facebook here at the moment. Actually, we're going to be back again tomorrow night at 6:30 for our very first virtual whiskey tasting with Boutique, which is going to be lots of fun. I just did a bit of a dry run just before, which was really, really cool, just with the team from Boutique and Proof & Co. So looking forward to that. I'm just going to try something with that's actually pretty good. So, do you want to talk about some wine?
I do.
So, okay. Joey, picture this. I'm at home. It's a Saturday night. I'm alone. I can't go out. I can't get into bars because they're all closed. Can't go out to catch up with my friends because we're all in self-isolation. Hot Dub Time Machine is streaming a live set from his bedroom and I'm in the lounge room dancing away by myself. What do I drink?
I mean, probably this. Anyone that's followed our social media the last probably couple of weeks, I think, has seen our excitement over the annual release of the Astro Bunny, which, if you're not familiar, is a bit of a cult, I guess, followed pet nat here in Australia. We talk about pet nat, it's sort of a pétillant naturel, or a sparkling wine made in a more natural style. So when we think sparkling wine here in Australia, especially champagne as well, falls under what you'd call a traditional method, which is 2 ferments, whereas the initial ferment, which is fermenting the sugar to alcohol and dryness, happens in a tank or a barrel or something like that, and then the wine is then bottled and is inoculated to start a secondary ferment, which involves yeast and sugar being added to that dry wine to then spark up another fermentation inside the bottle. And one of the byproducts of fermentation is carbon dioxide, which basically spritzes it up. So that's what we know as traditional method. Pet nat is basically what we call ancestral method, which is a style of sparkling wine that was made well before the styles of Champagne and that of France, which basically involves the primary fermentation finishing off in the bottle, right? So you've got some wine, it's fermenting, so the bacteria is eating the sugar, converting it to alcohol, carbon dioxide is being let off into the air. Whilst that's going, you will then actually bottle or add the juice into a bottle and cap it like so very quickly, so that the fermentation is still actually occurring inside the bottle, and all that carbon dioxide that's being released is stuck in there.
Yeah.
To basically go back into the wine to create a spritz style.
And is it true that that was discovered by accident initially?
Yeah, so from obviously it's going back to the sort of the 15th, 16th century, where they were up in the high altitude mountains of Western France, where they were making wine in much cooler climates, and ferments were going for a very long time, and then they were basically getting into the cool winters where it would get so cold that the ferments would stop. But winemakers at that time, not having the technology that we had, thought that they were done. So they would walk out and go, oh, the wine's not fermenting anymore, then all the sugar must be gone, let's bottle it, let's take it down and let's sell it. So they would be up in the cool climate mountains, and they would go, okay, the wine's done, but the wine wasn't actually done. There was still sugar in there, but the bacteria had died due to it being so cold. They would then bottle all that wine, start putting corks in it, and then take it down the mountains to the like markets in Bordeaux to go and sell it. But as they were going down, the temperature would heat back up again. That bacteria would come alive again, start oiling it, and then corks would start shooting out of these bottles as they were going. Yeah, idiots, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Who knew?
I think every home brewer in the country knows.
Yeah, exactly. It's still happening.
Yeah.
So now we do have the technology to monitor sugar levels as wine is fermenting, so we can are able to bottle at the correct sugar levels to get a good amount of spritz and bubbles into the wine during our primary ferment, which is really cool. And one of the absolute masters of this in the country is Tim Wildman.
Yeah.
MW, one of the few MWs here in Australia are masters of wine, and he makes 2 wines a year. Does many other things for the wine industry and sommeliers alike, but he makes 2 wines every year. And the driver of that range is the Astro Bunny, which is always a bit of a blend. Typically Nero d'Avola, Fiano, Zabibo as well, which he gets out of the Adelaide Hills and parts of the Barossa. And then it's always, well, it has recently had a bit of a sister wine to it. So a couple of years ago it was known as Heavy Petting. Dark Side was first.
Dark Side first.
Dark Side was first, which had like a little Darth Vader helmet thing on the label,
and
which was dark, really, really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then obviously you can't get away with that for too long. And so then last year we saw Heavy Petting come in, which was again 100% Nero d'Avola. Again, really deep, dark, Ribena-esque sort of colour. Really crunchy, lots of tannin that came through. I guess the interesting thing with pet nat is that you can make it from any grape you want. Basically, if you have sugar, you can have pet nat. Some grapes lend to it very, very well, some don't. So we see a lot out of Riesling, especially the red grapes, I guess, because the skin content tends to lend itself very well as well. So Astro Bunny's always been this lovely, cloudy, peach-like thing, just ultimate beach juice, just smashable. So last year we saw Heavy Petting. This year we see Pea Pop, which is the newest edition. But this is...
while you're pouring that for me and yourself, I'm just going to ask a question that's come in from Mitchell King. He said, random question, gents. Apologise if I already addressed this, and we actually did last week, but not this week. Do you think the amendments in the liquor licences allowing more restaurants selling takeaways is affecting business with bottle shops? Also, random idea, but any merit in cracking some of your high-end bottles and creating sample packages to move stock? So really good question, because both in Victoria and New South Wales, the liquor licences have been relaxed. Normally, they're very, very stringent. If you have a bar licence, you can sell vessels of things. If you don't have a packaged liquor license, you can't sell takeaway. So we have a packaged liquor license. We can do that. We can sell you full bottles, but we can't actually sell you a glass of wine. We can certainly run tasting events with the intent to sell full bottles and that sort of thing, but we can't do that. But obviously with all the bars and restaurants closing, that's been relaxed. So at this stage, no, I don't think so, because the way that bars and restaurants have been selling their things have been to the people around them. So it's been a real neighbourhood sort of appeal, and also it's not sustainable. Like I don't think the prices that some bars and restaurants have been selling stuff for is cost price or below cost price, so they're not making a profit off it, they're just doing their best to get some sort of income. If it was an ongoing thing, it might impact a little bit, but to be honest, like we are a premium bottle store. You know, we don't have any parking either, so it's like no one's backing the ute up and putting 40 cases of beer to last the apocalypse with them. So we're sort of in the same boat a little bit. It's a really interesting question. It's going to be really interesting to watch when those sorts of things are repealed in the future, because they will have to be, or they'll have to be quite heavily legislated and that sort of thing. So it's a bit of an interesting one. I don't think it's hurting at the moment, and anything that can help our friends in the hospitality industry right now, we're obviously very, very encouraging for. The random idea, cracking some of our high-end bottles to create sample packages to move stock, is something we're definitely thinking about. We've got a lot of virtual tastings on sale now. Our first one is tomorrow, but we've sort of lent towards companies and brands that already have bottles packaged. So people that are already doing miniatures, just because we're trying to reduce the amount of hands on things as possible. They were bottled in Scotland or in wherever a long time ago. We're in a lot of discussions where I'm on 5 or 6 phone calls a day with people around the country about this sort of thing, whether it's cocktail classes or little bits and pieces. So yeah, definitely we're looking at that. But yeah, so a very interesting point, something we're looking at now.
Yeah, it is interesting to see. I think obviously I see it in wine as well, where for the most part, I guess almost all I know a lot of these restaurants quite well, and yeah, they're trying to move out what's in the cellar.
Yeah.
No one in these venues are buying. They're not restocking to then go and sell it at cost. That's not happening. And we're lucky in the fact that we get to come here every day, and if that helps them through a very difficult period, absolutely.
Yeah, and we're lucky, I guess, that we have the ability to fight. We have foot traffic we're in the middle of Sydney CBD, so foot traffic stopped essentially. To be completely honest with you, the online orders are starting to pick up. They're nowhere near picking up what we've lost in foot traffic, but we did have an e-commerce platform. We were able to get onto people from the Monday that the lockdown sort of first came in, to get this stuff happening and moving. So we were able to pivot quite quickly, which was lucky for us. Other people haven't been as lucky, and I think whether it's on the footy field or in business, I kind of love a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
If we had to shut down, that would break my heart, but I'm just so lucky and thankful that we were able to fight.
Yeah.
Because I reckon that fight is worth, that actually gets me up in the morning at what can we come up with right now to sort of, think about that. And we encourage, if anyone's got, I know I've given a lot of tips and advice to other bottle stores and other venues and things. How do we do this? What software do we do to do this? And just more than happy to give all that knowledge out, because there's 25 million people in this country, and I reckon they all should be popping into live whiskey streams and things in the future.
Yeah, and like we touched on last week, I think that that the stage was set basically that Sunday night, that Monday off for bars to just shut completely and go out. And what have they done? It's just got around it, gotten out of bed and put up the hard fight. And
100%.
No one's
I mean, there is one, and no one knows how this is going to look in 6 months' time, 12 months' time. But there is one potential idea that sort of sits at the back of my mind. Maybe this relaxing of very stringent liquor licenses proves to the government that actually you can sell more on taxes, and people aren't going to abuse the rights. So if it goes the other way, maybe there's an oak barrel bar that can come out of weekend. Maybe we can sell you glasses.
This is definitely the first time we've thought of this.
Yeah. Throw that grenade into the audience and see where that one finds. Cool. Thanks for clarifying. Nico Devlin jumps in. Agreed. Scotty need to help Hospo innovate around the current crisis. 100%.
Yep.
They are the ones in real need at the moment. We'll start drinking more to increase online sales. Mitchell, I'm glad that you're taking one for the team there. The Hospo and bottle store industries, thank you.
Yeah.
But drinking responsibly. I know RSA doesn't apply at home, but you can still make some mistakes. So we started talking about wine. And
I did the pet nat spiel, basically primary ferment, finishes, and bottle.
So
I guess is that wine that is still becoming wine gets bottled before it's done becoming wine, and then it becomes like there's still carbon dioxide being released, spritzes out, and this is kind of one of the pinnacles of Australian Petillant Natural or Pet Nat, which is Piggy Pop. You can see, which is a sort of sister wine to Astro Bunny, which has taken the nation by storm, and the tiny amount that is made every year.
There's like we speak a lot about grower producers and producers here. We're saying like if you are a great farmer, doesn't mean you're going to be a great winemaker. Great winemaker doesn't mean you're going to be a great farmer. Tim Wildman, as you said, master of wine, which I want to talk about a little bit as well in a second, does. He knows so much about wine, and he's such a respected person in the industry. He makes 2 wines a year. Yeah. Because he knows what he's good at.
But what I love about that is I met Tim 3 years ago now. We sort of obviously say good day every now and then when he does get a spare second in his very busy calendar. But before meeting him, I was kind of oh, okay, this is Tim Wildman, master of wine. Makes
the Tim Wildman.
Yeah, makes that sort of thing.
His last name is Wildman.
Yeah, his last name is Wildman. Yeah, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, this guy's the real deal. He's much higher up than I am, and all this sort of thing, and couldn't pick a nicer person.
Oh, the loveliest bloke.
Yeah, he came and he was just like, oh, I've got the new releases to show you, and I thought, okay, he might be rock in for 10 minutes, pour a few splashes, let me try them, and I'll just take what I can get.
Then back to the castle or the sommelier.
Yeah. Then back to the limo, and then was here for an hour, and we drank both bottles, and just hung out.
I love it.
And I get that, and it's crazy because I don't get too much of a look into the master of wine world, but yeah, a little bit, and you see lots of suits, and lots of ties, and lots of badges, and fancy dinners and all that sort of thing. And for a master of wine to then go and release 2 of the funkiest wines made in Australia in his free time is just something else. Super cool.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where you go up to meet someone, you've got in their head what they are going to look like and how they're going to be. Then you get there and they're like, looks like us.
Yeah, and he drinks like us.
Yes, what's going on here? So, master of wine. Obviously, there's wet set courses you can do as someone I guess a sommelier, someone who's working in a restaurant recommending wine, or potentially in a bar as well.
Well, no, quite different. Okay. To my understanding, so you have 2 basically master qualifications. You have master sommelier, which is includes a service portion.
Okay. Yeah.
Essentially, so the master sommelier is the one they've made all the movies about, and everyone's very well dressed. And
need something to watch on Netflix at the moment. Google wine, watch Sour Grapes, and watch.
Well, Som's not on Netflix anymore. Uncorked is though. Okay. Uncorked has just been released about Dylan Proctor, which is a very good movie, and he's also a very knowledgeable sommelier and nice person.
I'm going to watch something tonight.
Watch it tonight. But you also have the Master of Wine, which is kind of like your Jancis Robinsons, your Tim Wildmans, which is more the, I guess I wouldn't want to say books, but books. Okay. It's you don't need to pour a bottle. Okay. You need to know your shit inside out, basically. And
is it an education thing, or is it a wine making thing?
It's an education thing.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically like a master's diploma in wine.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Kind of.
So Brady, if I'm a master sommelier, I'm working in the best restaurant in the world.
No, if you're a master sommelier, you're probably writing wine lists for Qantas or Emirates or something like that.
Okay.
But you have proven yourself to be one of the best servers of wine.
Okay.
So you can walk to a table, you can pour a wine, you can answer any question they have on it.
Yeah. So I guess because what I was going to say is sommelier, you're working in the best restaurant in the world. As a master of wine, you're consulting to that restaurant, but almost you go different paths, one knowledge, one service based, to come to the same result.
Yeah, eventually. Masters of wines, they write lots of books. They'll often be asked to judge the top competitions, that sort of thing. You know how to taste, and you know the regions and their profiles and all sorts of things. But from what I understand, the major difference is the service component.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You will train younger sommeliers on how to serve tables and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Cool. Nico Devlin pipes in. You have me still listening to wine. We are most definitely in unprecedented times. Well, mate, there's like more than
Well,
my mum, my dad.
Welcome, Nico.
Joey's mum and Joey's dad watching, so it is unprecedented.
Yeah, my mum only tunes in at once. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, as I've said before, I make mum and dad sit in different rooms so I can get two hits on the stream numbers. So cool. Okay.
But so I always find that that was the most fascinating thing I found about these two wines, Piggy Pot, which you're drinking now, and Astro Bunny, which you just think like, obviously the natural wine world gets such a beating from wine professionals going, it's shit, it's faulty, it's weird, it doesn't taste like this should do. It's like Sauvignon Blanc shouldn't taste like this or whatever. Everything needs to be put in a category, and then you have one of the top professionals on the planet who is breaking all the rules.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is cool. This is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to use the term like friend of the store, but Tim Wyman has been a long time friend of the store, and I remember like prior to your time with Beth and Paul Hervey and Julian in the wine buyer role, in the wine educator role, just gets along with everyone.
Yeah.
You are four very different people.
Yeah.
And everyone's just got along together.
But I think like and looking at that kind of influence in being in that sort of position, you see it in almost every industry where you get to a knowledge level where like you always see it, like I know I've done it where I've gotten very egotistical and big and going like, well, this is wrong and I know this much and blah 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 blah. But I feel like almost the further you get, the more you kind of understand.
Realize how much you don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because you can be an MW or an MS and just go, I get this natural wine thing, or I get this pet nat thing, or I get this whatever cocktail thing, or whatever it is, and just go. I think that's kind of the maturity of it all.
Yeah. Another comment there from Nico saying no real equivalent in the whiskey industry then, and no, there's not with the specific qualifications. Like there's nothing official that you put, Tim Wildman, MW. MW.
Yeah.
So there's no, no equivalent for that. Which, to be honest, I kind of like. I see a lot of people getting into, whiskey and wine, and this is just my personal opinion. Who like go, the first thing to do is I need to go and do a course and learn this, and it's like, well, no, like learn it because you love it, learn it because you're passionate, and let your interests guide you along the way. Don't let someone go, okay, now we're going to learn about Sauvignon Blanc because we have to. It's like, no, if I'm only interested in reds and I'm really interested in Burgundy at the moment, I'm going to go as far down Burgundy as well. And because that's how I got into whiskey, and that's what was such a refreshing thing for me after leaving school and uni, was I got to pick the syllabus. If I was interested in the closed distilleries of Campbelltown, I could go and do that, and that's all I would focus on for a couple of months. It wasn't someone get like, oh no, we haven't done our Isla, hour today. I was like, I don't care. I want to learn about closed distilleries that I'm never ever going to taste.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a very honest and true way to get into any sort of topic, whether it's booze or not. So I'm sure someone will monetize it, and there's a mob in America that monetize it by calling themselves whiskey sommeliers, which I don't know what that means. A whiskey sommelier. I think it's a bit of a wanky term, but
there's a spirits component to the wine one.
Yeah, to
I know
that.
Yeah.
But you don't count. There's no at the end of it.
No,
come up with,
no.
I'm a certified whiskey professional, or tick on the shoulder, that sort of thing.
So do you really want to be the sort of person that says that out loud?
No. Actually, I'm going to shut up for a little while. Just think about what I've done for saying it out loud.
But also, I'm in the exact same boat. I think where. I've done courses of study on specific, you'll study a grape type and there will be flavors associated with that grape type.
Yep.
And they'll say well, this is Shiraz. Shiraz has these flavors. But what if it's grown in a cooler climate on granite? Or what if it's grown much lower on sandy loam? Or what if it's, when is it ripe and how is it picked? How is the wine made, sort of thing. So I see a lot of wine come through the store, and especially we love the idea of working with smaller winemakers and people with interesting winemaking techniques and that sort of thing, as long as there's an appreciation for the vineyard and go, oh, this has got a really distinct nutmeg character. And they go, yeah, we get that off the vineyard itself. But I didn't get taught that in the book. It's but we did that, and then we actually macerated 10% of it on its skins, and then we blended it back in, and then it went into oak for a little bit, and then it came back out, because that's the wine we wanted to make, that we wanted to drink. And it was kind of like, well, that's like if people want to drink it, that's what it's about. But like, you can't go and put Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay into a box and say this is what Chardonnay tastes like.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
100%. I think
It's like putting Scotland into regions.
yeah. Genius marketing idea at the time.
Yeah.
It's now outdated. But I just think like the act of learning of reading something and knowing and being able to turn back and go, I know something more about something that I love more than I did 5 minutes ago. It's just so rewarding. I know a lot of people, myself included, if we do have to get shut down in the next sort of few months, I've lined up a lot of short courses from around the world. As I was saying before, like, I'm going to be an expert in Hamlet.
Yeah.
Give me a week and I want to know everything there is to know about Hamlet. Question directed at you. Jerry, what does your cellar look like at home? Is it like a plumber with bad pipes and a gardener with a shitty garden, or do you have an amazing cellar at home? I don't think that a bottle of wine in a room is safe with Joey at any point in time.
No, I do have a cellar.
Do you?
Well, it's up north.
I was going to say, it can't be at home. It's got to be somewhere without arms.
It's definitely not at home. There's a few wines here that I'm sort of stashing away. A lot of Riesling and a lot of Northern Rhone.
Yeah, okay.
At the moment, Northern Rhone red. Oh, a bit of Northern Rhone whites as well, but I like a lot of Saint Joseph. I like Condrieu for whites, the Mosel, and Alsace for Riesling. But yeah, I've got a not a great cellar, I wouldn't say. It's like my tastes are constantly changing week in, week out, where I'll sort of go different ways. When I was much younger, when I was about 20 or 21, I started buying cases in London to store away. Some like 6 packs of Pagao, Chateau Neuf de Pape and stuff like that I thought I would then sell on at a later date. I was 20, so I didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
So I drank a lot of that.
Yeah, I was going to say, because you, when you were obviously living in London, you came back.
Yeah.
Did you bring any of that back with you, or was there just a big blowout at Joey's house?
No, I sold a bit of it, and then we drank the rest of it.
Yeah, okay.
Because it was all in bond. It was all in bond storage.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. But no, a cellar at home is maybe like 100 bottles strong at the moment, if that.
Yeah, okay.
And yeah, it's just kind of sitting there I like old Riesling, and old Shannon. There's a bit of Vouvray in there.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's really wanko wine.
Yeah. goes with the personality there.
There's no Canberra Sangiovese tucked in there anywhere, unfortunately.
Yeah. It's interesting because I started the Oak Barrel about 5 years ago now, and I still bought whiskey up until about 4.5 years ago, and I don't reckon I've bought, like, there's a couple of things here and there that I've bought, but I stopped buying pretty straight away because I was only buying things that I wanted to try and share with people. And now that I'm fortunate enough to have the greatest job in the world, I can do that on a daily basis.
Yeah.
For the business. So, and one bottle of something awesome that I buy is one, particularly in whiskey where the allocations are so small, and sometimes is one bottle less that goes to someone else. So, I had a whiskey cellar, so to speak, or a whiskey collection at home, just because I was going to get to it at some point. If I can get to it straight away, then I don't need it. Well, I've collected that memory, that experience.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. But yeah, do you reckon you've, like, working full time in the Oak Barrel with potentially more access to things? Have you collected more or collected less?
I definitely collected less.
Yeah. Okay.
I think just because, like I said, like even coming from a restaurant background, which was had an incredible wine list, and I loved working around those wines, and what I do miss a little bit about the restaurant world as opposed to working here. I still see a lot of wines working here, but in a restaurant, if someone orders a 82 Lafite out of the cellar,
that's expensive, by the way, for people who don't speak wine.
I don't even know what an 82 Lafite goes for these days. Like a lot.
Yeah.
Or like an old Echezeur or something like that. You crack it at the table or whatever, and you taste it. Yep. So I could go home that night going, I taste an 82 Lafite. But I've probably discovered more that I didn't really taste an 82 Lafite. Like I did, and I can, cross it off the list or whatever, but I didn't sit around a table with a group of friends and drink a glass of 82 Lafite with people that I really want to spend time with. And I think like that, for me, that's the biggest part of enjoying good wine, is like not like going to wine conferences and going, oh yeah, that's a really awesome old school Jaudelet, or that's, you know, some excellent wine or some old Muller or whatever it is. It's more like, okay, I'm going to save up for this bottle, and then I'm going to get all my friends around, and we're all going to drink it. Wine friends or not wine friends. Like, I've got like shared some of like my favorite wines with people that don't like wine.
Yeah.
Just to go like, hey, like, you know, we went to school together or whatever. Here's a glass of this. I'm not going to tell you how much it is. Just tell me if you like it or not. And you know, if you're like, this is crap. I don't like this. I'm like, yeah, right, cool. Let's get your opinion. That's a $3 bottle, but yeah, sure.
And if anyone wants to hear Scotty and Joey talk at very much like a length for about an hour about this concept, the first episode of March after I came back from Bathurst.
Oh, is this when we did the fake bottles?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just reading it on a long train trip, just reading and listening to podcasts about the concept of old wine and fake bottles and what that actually means. We spent a lot of time talking about that concept.
It's like, so I feel like I don't go chasing bottles as much, but I do feel like I go chasing experiences.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I might see a bottle and go, all right, great. I know exactly when I'm going to drink that, and I know exactly what's going to happen. And I feel like one of the last scenes of Sideways is a really good precedent for that. Have you seen Sideways? No? The Paul Giamatti movie? He has this really rare bottle.
I don't watch
it's all
movies.
about like,
If I don't watch movies I haven't seen before.
If you've seen Sideways, you will definitely remember the last scene where he's drinking DRC out of a styrofoam cup in like a Hungry Jack's or whatever. It's a very iconic scene though.
Yeah. I have.
That's what I think of.
A lot of stories like that where maybe I worked in the music. In fact, can I collect some more wine in my glass, please?
This one age.
Yeah.
Not open anyway.
Used to work in the music industry. Might have had some very, very close friends who worked very high up in some festivals. Maybe we would camp in the staff section. Maybe in the 2 weeks before security arrived and people arrived, set up, bottles would be smuggled into that camp section, and maybe we drank some very expensive good whiskey out of camping mugs and that sort of thing. Some of the best whiskey memories ever. And it's alright, the festival we're talking about doesn't exist anymore. It went under a few years later because everyone was smuggling booze and not paying for it. So. A couple of comments. Yeah, great movie. Apparently,
it is a great movie. You should. Yeah, actually, before you go, what was the other one we were talking about? You gonna go watch?
Uncorked. Haven't seen
No,
Uncorked.
go watch Sideways before that. It's a very good movie.
But lucky enough, I do have the original Steve McQueen Le Mans on my Google Play account, so I can just watch that on repeat and try and get over the fact that Le Mans has been pushed back to November this year, which breaks my heart.
No, it's good. So yeah, like I've got a few gems sort of tucked away there, but nothing like. I don't know. I just don't have the patience to sell the wine. And I do have the luxury of access to lists.
Yeah.
I think it's already old enough for me. So
yeah. I think part of that thing is now that we are in the industry, you know, there's not the need to go. If I don't do this, I will never try it. We're lucky enough to have that access to, you know, I've tried 60s Vermont.
Yeah.
I've tried whiskey from pre-war eras.
Yeah.
I've tried 70s, 80s Macallans. I've tried Carazara from 40 years ago. I don't need to now spend, you know, 10, 15 grand on those bottles to try it. So again, this is a real alpha moment, I think, that we're playing out here. But the question was asked. Yeah. We do have the two best jobs in the world. Mine's slightly better because the alcohol content's a little bit higher in whiskey. But that's reality.
I get more free dinners.
Yeah. So, but basically, when this all goes tits up, we're going to be coming to your house because I've got no stocks left.
But what I think would also might sort of perplex us a little bit as well is that we talk about a lot with wine where it comes through and we might see a $24 wine from somewhere like Unico Zello, which is absolutely stunning, killer. Or the Sangiovese we drank last week, that was
awesome.
Unbelievable.
What, $30?
And then you'll see a $70 wine come through from maybe a more reputed, more known brand, and there's a lot of marketing behind it and whatever. And you just kind of go, yeah, sure.
Fine.
And then we kind of go, well, actually, I really like that $24 bottle of Sanjo a lot more than I like that bottle, And then that all of a sudden that price tag becomes really relevant.
Yeah. Well, it's the old adage, isn't it? You know, I've drunk a lot of shit whiskey or average whiskey. There's no such thing as shit whiskey. I've drunk a lot of average whiskey with some excellent people. I had an excellent time. And I've drunk quite a bit of exceptional whiskey with some shit people and had a bad time.
Yeah.
So it's the company that counts rather than what's in the bottle. But, you know, obviously good booze is good booze, and please continue to buy very expensive bottles because it keeps us in a job.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get back to Macca's because they're closing it. So
I would like to sell her more wine, I think. I sell her a little bit, but not a heap.
I've got a little bit off site. Like I'm talking about between somewhere between 10 and 12 bottles. Back before I was in the Oak Barrel, that is actually between myself and my old business partner in Dram Club, which I should probably check on because that was a little while ago and there was some stuff that was already aged, and I'm paying a monthly fee for it. I should probably go check what's actually in there and get it out. Because it could be going off the cliff. In fact, it was stuff I bought from the Oak Barrel.
Yeah.
I think there's some Rhone in there. Actually, you might be interested in that.
Maybe.
It was a pre-release offer that Simon and Dave sent my way. I think we bought a couple of bottles of each.
Old red Northern Rhone is, actually old anything Northern Rhone is pretty special.
Yeah. I have no idea, to be honest. It was French. I can't remember it. How good were those fireballs? I have no idea what you're talking about, Nico. Absolutely no recollection. Don't know. Don't care. Who ain't Nico? No, we've never met before. Shall we get into the grand finale of tonight?
Oh yeah, we're gonna make some martini.
Yeah, can you this is the bit that normally.
Should I guide you through it or?
I don't know. So to be clear, this is the bit that normally happens after we switch off again.
Yeah.
Guys, we've gone for a little bit over an hour now. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you all next week. But we're going to get a rover, but there's no rover, so we may as well keep going. And if Mum and Dad want to keep watching me make a fool of myself, then they're more than welcome. So, but if you are a bartender, about now is the time to switch off because we're going to massacre your art form that you are so good at that we are rubbish at. So, I like martinis because I like gin, but I've never worked behind a bar. I worked out pretty early on in my drinking career, about 18 years and one day, that to be on the other side of the bar was the correct side. So I've just never had that concept of actually like the intricacies of putting together a good drink. So we have some vermouth, we have some gin.
Yep.
What else do I need?
Well, olives, but everything's shut.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe a lemon. We don't have a lemon.
That's right.
I'm just gonna wing it.
I do have.
If you're
I do have some bitters.
No, I don't need bitters.
Okay, well, okay.
Yeah, right.
So, okay.
Should we get them?
Yeah. You know where they are?
I know where they are.
Because
I'm not quite sure how this is going to work out.
Yeah. So yeah, Joey is going to go and grab some materials for this because I have no idea what I'm doing, and it could go either way. It could be Joey teaches Scott how to make it, or Joey makes it himself. And to be honest, we are...
That's Exhibit A.
Exhibit A. We're going to do things a little bit based on the concept of what we have open around the store. So it may not be the most perfect selection of things ever, but I guess this is part of like cocktail making. It's just part of cooking, right? So you've got what you've got. We're going to give it a go and see how it works. So our vermouth is from the Adelaide Hills Distillery. So it's a dry vermouth. There's some. I can give you some further information on that a little bit later. And the Carew Distillery gin, their affinity. So they're classic gin. Now, one has been in the fridge, in the beer fridge, so at about 5.5 degrees Celsius, and the gin has been in the freezer, so at approximately less than 0 degrees Celsius. I'm going to let Joey explain why that is at the moment. In fact, I'll tell you a little bit about we've spoken about Carew gin quite a lot, but about the Adelaide Hills, dry vermouth's botanical profile. So it's got Carcala in it, which is giving you essentially the salty notes, a bit of sea spray, they're describing it here, but salty, saline notes with a bit of herbal. There's a bit of wattle seed in here, so that's giving us coffee and chocolate notes. Native thyme, which again is herbal, but a little bit on that sort of like green, savoury, sort of herbal notes, almost like a little bit more, planty sort of savoury notes. and then coastal rosemary, which is giving us our citrus element here. So, Joey,
Yeah.
why were these things? Well, vermouth is in the fridge. That makes sense. It's going to last a little bit longer.
Yep.
Why was the gin in the freezer?
Because when talking about martinis, I guess cold, like the colder the better.
Okay.
Like that's, I mean, no one really wants a non-cold martini, right? So if you can get all your
But I drink gin at room temperature.
yeah, but like martinis are always better cold.
Okay.
That's why we stir them over ice, right? So like the colder you can get everything involved in the process. If you can have the glasses chilled, which we don't. Yeah.
This is pretty ghetto.
Yeah, this is very ghetto.
This was not really planned. Yeah. The only thing that was planned was putting the gin in the freezer. That's all that's happening.
Yeah, and it's nice and cold too.
You'd expect it being in the bloody freezer. If it's not cold, we're going to have a problem with our freezer.
But yeah, a bit of a do it from home episode right now. But yeah, I guess making martinis from home. All you really need is gin, vermouth, a glass. We've obviously got the little kitchen glass thing going on here.
That's a water tumbler.
A water tumbler, yeah. I don't like the shaker, so.
Oh, so you're not actually going to use the shaker?
No, because with the metal, the ice sticks.
Okay.
So it makes it harder to stir it around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mate, I'm in your hands. I'm not going to argue with
yeah.
that.
Do you want to have a go?
No.
Okay.
Well, no. Okay.
Hold on.
So Scotty makes a martini. Let's see how this goes. You can't quite see that here. Can I do it? Do I need to do it? I'll hold it.
All right, you hold it. All right.
I'll hold it. Okay. I'll pretend I'm making it. You pour it.
All right.
Now, we're obviously measuring things out.
We are measuring things, yeah. So, I like martinis really, really dry.
Good, that's good. Yeah. And when we say dry and wet martinis, what does that mean?
So basically, so the amount of vermouth that's used.
Yeah.
So a wet martini, you'll tend to use more dry vermouth. For this purpose, we're going to go off one of my favorite martini recipes, which was supposedly Churchill's.
Churchill's?
Yeah, but it wasn't. It was from a field marshal called Bernard Montgomery.
They
liked his
Monty.
Yeah, they liked his martinis 15-1.
So 15 parts gin?
15 parts gin, 1 part vermouth.
1 part vermouth.
Right, so if you were to be doing it at a bar setting, you'd probably do 60 mils gin, 4 mils vermouth.
Yeah, so just
just a touch. But we've all heard the quotes of staring at a bottle of vermouth from across the room, or bow in the direction of Italy, or whatever it is. But yeah, if you
bound it. How much vermouth do you like in your gin? I'll bow in the direction of Italy.
Yeah. People just
I don't think I'd heard that one before.
We might do one of those tonight, but by all means, you can always add more vermouth if you like more herbaceous tinge towards things. I think the Caro Affinity is excellent, so I just want to taste more of that than anything, and kind of that vermouth just rounds it out, adds a minerality. So if you want to go dirty, you add olive brine and olives and all that sort of thing.
So dirty and clean and wet and dry are not the same thing. We are talking martini one.
You can have a dirty dry martini,
which is what I tend to order.
So olive brine or olives included, and then less vermouth. And
100%.
Yeah. Dirty wet. Dirty wet is probably dirty and wet, and then clean and dry tend to go sort of hand in hand. So what we might do here is one of each. We'll do.
And we love the Carew Distillery, providing us with hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
From out of North Richmond, Nick and Ali.
Sanitising the insides and outsides.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So we might do 75 and 5. Yeah.
Each. Good. Yeah. So I'm not sharing that.
So this is 45.
Do you know how people say and then it turned to disaster? I've got that feeling just here.
You're winning things.
Yeah.
Feels weird not being.
So this is you're doing 15 mils?
No, so the first 2 pours were 45, and these 2 pours are 30.
Okay.
Or an ounce and a half.
So basically what I have now
is 150 mils of gin.
Yeah, a lot of gin in a glass of ice.
And then this, 2 5 ml pours, which is the depth of the spoon.
So basically,
this feels like really professional.
Yeah, the gin truck is driving past the vermouth factory.
Kind of.
On the way to our martini.
More for good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Now we're not going to shake this, obviously.
No, we're not going to shake it. You never shake a martini. And now, so glass doesn't stick, but metal does. So we're just going to stir this for
Okay, yeah. So
a middle amount of time.
So the ice sticks to, because the shaker I do have here, I'll just show everyone.
Which is copper. So
it's copper.
Copper.
So because I work in whiskey and spirits, when I had the option of like, what colour do you want? I was like, copper, obviously. Yeah. Always copper. Yeah. If in doubt, always copper.
Not knocking it. It's good for sours and everything else, but it will stick to.
Okay.
It won't stick to glass. We're just going to stir it down, get it nice and cold.
And then you put a straw in and just drink?
Then you just grab a funnel and chuck it down there. So it's cold.
That sound is actually quite relaxing. We could just record you spinning ice.
That's pretty good, actually.
And it'd be one of those old...
string, I think.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It'd be one of those... can't fall asleep? Listen to Joey stir ice for 4 hours.
So yeah. And then straight into a wine glass, as recommended.
Is that the correct way to drink martini?
Yep, it is. Here at the Oak Barrel, it is.
Right now, in this specific moment, the correct glass to drink a martini out of is the first glass you can reach.
Yeah, it'll do.
Close, not quite close. How long have you been out of the bar game for? A little while. One's big now, that's alright.
I blame the environment.
One martini is better than none.
So, yeah, they're 15 to 1 martinis.
Beautiful. And so obviously the garnish is gin.
The garnish is gin. I like olives. I always sort of lean towards olives. Like, I don't know, I find like I always drink enough citrus forward gin that when I'm at a bar and I want a martini, you kind of want that savoury kind of bite in there.
I'm a little bit biased because olives are my desert island food.
Yeah.
I reckon I can live off them. Like people who, when you're doing uni and you've got no money and you're paying rent and trying to have a job and all that sort of stuff, and you live off 2-minute noodles.
Yeah.
I lived off olives and olive oil and bread dipped in olive oil. I just from apparently when we mum and dad would go on family trips, we did wine region. I'd
smash into the olives.
The olive oil dip. That's where I got excited from. So maybe there's something said in that. I just love wine regions. Just love the olive oil producers. This is pretty good. This actually smells like a martini.
Yeah, surprised, eh? It's good. It's just a little bit more viscous than gin.
Yeah,
and that's going to get less and less kind of intense as it warms up, but.
And so that's part of the reason why we're doing it so cold.
Yeah, I think so. It just kind of keeps that aroma in check.
So just to row back a little bit, you didn't shake because the ice sticks to the copper or the metal.
No. So you don't shake because there's no citrus element in the drink.
Okay.
So if you're only working with 2 alcoholic instruments, there's no reason to shake. Shaking just oxidizes, chips the ice. You don't really get any sort of benefit from shaking as opposed to stirring.
Yeah.
So stirring, basically you're trying to blend the two. Like you only stir a Negroni, you only stir a martini, you stir a green point, anything like that. Just because you want those alcoholic elements to blend. You can't stir a cocktail with a citrus or a juice base because there's different weight differentials in the two. So you need to shake it to really integrate the juice with the alcohol.
So that's good news for everyone.
So I think
everyone playing at home is all you need is
literally just a cup,
a water glass,
a cup and a spoon. Yeah, good to go.
Get the old ice from the freezer.
Ice in the freezer. That's what we did.
Yeah, the old Kelvinator. Turn the ice rack around, and you'll be good. It's not bad. This.
Yeah, no, I just think martini's such an underrated drink.
Yeah. So okay.
The same thing. I feel like a lot of the challenge with people coming out to buy martinis is okay, buy a bottle of gin because you're going to taste gin. If you buy a 750ml bottle of vermouth, how many martinis do you have to drink to get through that?
Yeah.
150.
Well, at the ratio we're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe potentially controversial question, and I know why we do it because when in that land before time in a previous life when we could go to bars, we would actually pick gins and expensive gins, which would eventually result in expensive martinis. But why is the martini quite a expensive drink? If I go to Wenty Leagues, for example, they got Long Island iced tea, specials. You can get Long Island iced tea for $10 and 4 of them, and you're sorted. but like ordering a martini from there is quite expensive when they're using a house gin and a house vermouth and that sort of thing. Is it just a perception thing that martinis are, attract a price point?
I think so in that situation. Like, I feel like any sort of good classic cocktail, there's an old fashioned.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like what's the difference between ordering, 2 house pours of Buffalo Trace or an old fashioned. I think that there's a lot of appreciation in the cocktail being made well.
Yeah.
Whereas like you almost feel a little bit cheated if you were at an entry level sort of venue and someone was reading it off a sheet and chucking it in and throwing it all together with a few cherries on top and all the rest.
Yeah.
I've always enjoyed paying for good Negronis and good martinis and that sort of thing, but I feel like that's also, I'm going to sound like a real pretentious wank here, but I think it's also...
Mate, we're well beyond that point tonight, I
it's
promise
also
you.
on you as a consumer to kind of go, like, alright, do I want to order a martini here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same with, like, it's like wine. Like, if I'm maybe not at a venue where I feel as though I need, I want to order a bottle of wine, I'll just drink beer.
Yeah.
Or just drink gin and tonics.
It's a really interesting point because I think that sometimes people don't always, like grab the concept. Is when you order a drink at a bar, you're not paying for necessarily the ingredients. You're paying for that bartender who might be a 5, 10, 20-year experienced bartender. You're paying for the environment.
You're paying for the seat that you're sitting on.
The atmosphere. You're paying for the location. All that sort of things. And this is a pretty good martini, to be honest. I mean, I really wanted to say it was shit to sort of bring it down a couple of pegs, but it's pretty good. But like, what I'm missing here is an environment and saying good day to the person next to me, having a bit of a bar chat with the person in front of me, and
but like the other way, and like you don't want to kick people while they're down or whatever. But there's been that side of the hospitality, like cocktail bartending environment where you walk in and you order a martini, or you order a Negroni or whatever it is, and theirs is different. It's our house Negroni, and it's infused with this, that, and the other, and whatever. And then like you kind of feel like the bad person of going, can I just get like a new one?
Yeah.
You just get equal parts Campari and sweet vermouth and gin. And oh no, but we seasoned ours in a barrel out the back, and we did all this. It's like, okay, great, but just something normal. Or like, everyone's got their own take on a martini. And it's like,
I think I told you this story, but I was at the first time I went to Scout. Scout, very famous bar in London, like iconic, one of the best experimental cocktail bars in the world. If you work at Scout in London, you get that's something you put on the resume forever. PS40 is probably our equivalent in Sydney, and so Scout opened just above the Dolphin Hotel, and so went in there, looked at the It was early. I was actually going to Bricks for a function, for a rum tasting. So I actually quickly snuck in there. Had time for a glass of wine and something else, and I was like, oh, okay, the menu's a bit daunting. Let's just go martini, whatever martini you want to make. And it was excellent. And so the glass was cold. It was frozen, obviously, as probably should have been. And then over the course of like the half an hour as I was drinking the martini, the glass obviously defrosted. And what was left of my martini was poured into another glass, which was cold again. And I was like,
far out.
Okay, that's the Scout way of doing things. We don't care if you're going to drink a martini over 3 hours or 3 minutes. We'll make sure that at every sip of that martini is the best that drink can be.
That is awesome as well, because that's not trying to like big it up. That's just trying to be like.
And it was like it was just like
it's like a coaster almost like.
Yeah, and it was just a thing that happened, and I sort of like doubled to it. I was like, oh, I thought it was like this black still in my drink. Yeah. But he was just pouring into another glass, and I was like, okay, that's that level of service, that 1% is what I'm paying for here, which was quite remarkable.
But like I had a similar thing when I was sort of managing bars earlier on, like sort of 1920, and managing like a team of 5, and we were up in a well-known cocktail bar on the Sunshine Coast. Which is sort of like doing that whole kind of like,
name and shame.
Well, Miss Moneypenny, if anyone has ever been.
Benny Walsh's joint.
Yeah, which is extraordinary.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much I put that venue down to where I am today. in terms of the support that was given
Poor
to me.
bastard had just done a complete refurb.
Yeah.
It was meant to launch like 2 weeks ago.
But Ben Walsh, one of the nicest people ever, one of the most supportive people as well. But yeah, I found myself in the brain, like sort of running the bar there for a period of months, and we had a team of 5 bartenders, all very experienced bartenders from all across the world coming in and here, whatever. But like any bar, you know, you've got a cocktail menu sort of thing. It's all linked to your stock system. So every time you sell an espresso martini, 30 mils of vodka come out, blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
all the rest. And it was almost nightly that you'd come and get up. You know, sort of walking behind, became my own worst enemy at one stage there, and going, oh, what's that? And he goes, oh, I put half a shot of Frangelico into my espresso martini because, you know, it really highlights it. All right, mate, but you know, like we've got a house espresso martini here, and you know that's how we make it, and whatever. Oh yeah, but I always do it this way. It's like, how many bartenders does it take to change a light bulb?
Yeah.
1 and 7 to tell you how they did it at a different bar.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of like, oh yeah, but you know, just like do this. It's like, just stop complicating things. Just keep it chill.
I think, and to like maybe sum up the last half an hour that we've been talking, and look
Keep it simple.
straight down the camera, and you can do this as well. Bartenders, we love you and we miss you.
Yeah.
Please come home soon.
This is what it's come down to.
Because we are struggling without you.
Scott and I arguing over martinis on a Monday night.
I should not be able to talk about martinis to anyone. That is your job, and we are so sorry for what's going on. We want you back home soon, please. Couple of questions or comments coming through here. Yeah, and Nico, I agree 100%. The experience overall is what you pay in a bar. Like you buy into that concept. You know, you buy into the atmosphere and all that sort of stuff. Crafty Field from the Capity Distillery, who also has released some white spirits, what we were talking about earlier with the backwoods. There's an Eau de Vie, which is sort of like...
A Feijoa one?
Sorry?
The Feijoa one? Did you do a Feijoa Eau de Vie?
Yes, I think, yes. Hold on.
Haven't you? No, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, so cider apple jar.
Oh,
So, did you try that at Whiskey Fair?
no.
No, you missed out. So, in the same boat of a lot of the conversations we're having before, but he is drinking. In fact, he's drinking that. He also has new. He's drinking that with hot apple juice, cinnamon cloves, and star anise.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think what's that? That's like a hot toddy on steroids.
Yeah. Hot toddy with a bit of...
With spice.
Yeah, a bit of spice to it.
Spice and things. I'm gonna have a little bit more of it. Talking of the alarm is trying to kick us out at the moment.
Should I go shut it off?
Yeah, go and say that and have a bit of a chat.
It's going to stop as soon as I get there as well, I know that.
Yeah.
Every time. Every time.
But guys, we've gone a little bit over time tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope everyone is staying safe, hand sanitizing, whether it's with single vintage, single cask strength, single producer hand sanitizer, or with the Evil Empire Dettol's hand sanitizer.
Right from the still.
Stay safe, stay at home if you can. We'll be back tomorrow night with quite a big event with our very first virtual whiskey tasting. Then Wednesday night we'll be back at about the same time, about 7:30. So tomorrow night 6:30 for the tasting. Wednesday 7:30 with our whiskey roundtable discussion. Thursday night, do you want to do a wine roundtable discussion?
Sure. There's any wine fans out there that want to jump on Zoom on Thursday night?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I reckon
we'll wrangle up a few winemakers.
A couple of winemakers in isolation who
I've
seen a couple of them on Facebook are jumping out of their skins looking for something to do. And then even though it's Good Friday, and I won't be, well, no one will be here because I have to operate on Good Friday. Maybe from home, do a bit of the Friday night or the Good Friday drinks from home. We can come and say good day. But thank you very much. It's always a pleasure and a privilege from the greatest job in the world to hopefully bringing you guys a bit of a relief, bit of a laugh, bit of a, take your mind off the fact the world is about to crumble. And
please shout at us for our martinis as well.
Yeah.
If I did anything wrong, I think.
Yeah. Like, this is how you do it at home, ghetto style. Please do not
Yeah.
speak to any bartenders. Don't admit that we did this. Don't tell any bartenders.
My name's
that this
Scott
happened.
Fitzsimons.
And my name's not.
Not.
Yeah. Just nothing associated with the Oak Barrel, please. Take care. Godspeed.
See you next week.
Get home safe.
See you tomorrow.
But you're already there.